Hey guys, welcome back to the show. It's Christine, and today I'm diving into part 2 of those 5 saboteurs, the 5 limiters that really kill the vision that God has for our life, the kingdom assignment. And they're silent, they're subtle, they're silent killers, and we don't even realize that they've come on the scene. And so I really encourage you, if you're in a season where you're doing goal setting, you're visioneering, you're looking ahead, and you're starting to build, you're building, you're architecting, you're engineering a life, a business, that you love, that you want to love, make sure you listen to last week's episode. This is part 2. Last week, I talk about the human limitations of short-sighted vision versus the kingdom vision, the eagle's perspective over the lay of the landscape of our life. We all get caught up in this. Every single person I've worked with, I've coached, it's so subtle. We start with a grandiose vision, but then the more we gain, the more there is to protect, right? The more there is to lose. So sometimes we start to shrink the vision so that we can make sure that we secure it. We secure everything we've created. That's just a little sneak peek into last week. I also talked about provision, the limits that we put on provision or resources to fund the assignment, to fund the vision, to fund the projects that God is inviting us into partnership on, the missions that he's inviting us into. I also talked about capacity and grace, like the limits that we put on capacity, our ability to execute, right? Our energy, our bandwidth, the power that we have. So make sure that you go back and listen to last week. Today, I'm going to dive in and I'm going to talk about the limitations that I'm going to share 2 more. And the first one is the limitation on purpose. When we don't fully understand the purpose of something, we will misuse it. We will abuse it. And we're going to talk about where things go sideways today. And we want to make sure that we just check in and realign ourselves to God's purpose, right? Versus our purpose for things. We're going to unpack that. And the second one that I'm going to unpack today is the limitation of mindset, faulty internal structures, and how we get that restructured to align with the promises, to align with the mission, to align with the assignment. Okay. So we're going to jump in. First of all, as we think about this, I just want to encourage and remind us all that this isn't about perfection. I am not going to sit up here and say it's got to all be perfect. It's hot. It's messy. I falter so often. In fact, even earlier today, I felt myself just feeling the weight of the assignment and wanting things to be right and wanting to make sure that I steward everything with excellence, and also being in the tension of, and also I can have that desire and also keep checking myself, making sure that I don't get swept away in performance over presence, in rushing timelines, in the wrong purposes. And I'm using these things as checkpoints. Okay. So let's talk about purpose for a minute. When we are not, I just said this, I'm going to say it again. When I don't understand the purpose of something, I will abuse it. I will misuse it or misguide it, mismanage it. And I'm going to start as something as simple as marriage. Okay. This is simple, but it's deep, right? If we don't understand the purpose behind marriage, the purpose and the design, like what is it actually created for, right? Why did God create this thing? And what is his plan and his purpose for marriage? The world says the purpose of marriage is companionship, right? Like at the end of the day, it's so that you have somebody to do life with, you have companionship, you're not going to be alone at the end of your life, right? You have somebody to love you, you have somebody to love, but primarily it's so that we're not alone. And while the word of God says it is not good for man to be alone, God's design and plans and purpose for marriage is so much greater than just our desire for companionship or to have somebody to do fun stuff with or to have somebody so that make us feel loved and worthy and significant and connected, which are all good things. They're part of the purpose, but they're not the ultimate purpose. God created man and woman to become one flesh, to amplify each other, to multiply what he put in the individual parts, to create something that when it was fused together through the covenant of marriage, through the tie of sexual intimacy with God at the center, would really add rocket fuel to the kingdom mission. Marriage was the design for partnership in dominion. It was the design for multiplication. There was no multiplication without the man and the woman, right? Yes, the Lord said it's not good for man to be alone. He realized there was things in Adam that were just missing until he put the right partner and locked in. It's not about you complete me so much. It's that it's this helper. It's this partner that comes alongside and allows the fullness of who we are to be expressed as well in partnership, in relationship. It's a beautiful picture of our relationship with God, right? Apart from God, apart from Christ, we can't do nothing. We can do some things on our own, but it will still feel incomplete. There won't be the power to it. There won't be the sustainability to it. Think about this. Every time you want to build something, you want to connect with something, you experience something new, we're naturally designed that we want to share it with someone. We want to tell somebody. We want to bring someone into the experience. God created man for a relationship and partnership with him so that we could walk with him and we could carry out the dreams and desires and co-labor and co-create together. It's so powerful. And as he created marriage, it is a reflection of our relationship with God, with Christ as co-creators, co-laborers, walking together, experiencing the fullness of his creation and what he has for us. It's a deep intimacy of loyalty and covenant. And there's blessings within the confines of this relationship, within the protection and the covering of the relationship. There is blessing and overflow and multiplication. So marriage is God's design for multiplication, for amplification. And there is a power that's released through a couple when they come together as one force, united for something much bigger than them, that exponentially increases everything they put their hands to. Now, this can be a beautiful thing when it's submitted to the right thing, the right God, the right things. It can also be a highly destructive energy when these two come together and they're submitted to the things of the world, when they're trying to build from trauma, from fueled, right? We amplify the chaos and it becomes the most draining place ever when you're in a relationship, a marriage that's being misused, that's being abused, that's being mismanaged. It literally sucks the life of you because you don't understand the purpose of the thing. We think the purpose of this is to make sure that I feel loved and I'm respected and I feel good about myself. And so many of us are stuck in this pattern inside of our marriages. We're dissatisfied. We're unhappy. We're unfulfilled. We're drained. We're exhausted. And I would like to suggest out the gate, I'm starting with marriage on this one. May it be because you don't understand the true purpose of God's design for marriage. As we start asking the Lord, what is your purpose for my marriage, for marriage in general? He'll start to draw blueprints. If you study what the word of God says, I just shared some things with you, and the two became one. It's to become one flesh, one mind, one force, united, surrendered to the plans and purposes God has for your life. And he will give you a unified mission, right? You're individuals like the hand and the foot of the one body. You have unique parts. Both of you are necessary so that the whole can work. The body without a head is no good. The head without a body is no good. We need the whole body working together. But the body's all moving in one direction. It's not like the hands are trying to go this way, the feet are trying to go this way, the head's trying to go that way. It's not discombobulated. But many of us think that's what marriage is. It's, I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to have my finances. I'm going to have my business. I'm going to have my friends. I'm going to have my hobbies. You do your thing. And then we'll just hang out every once in a while. And just as long as you don't mess with my stuff too much or don't try to control me too much, then we're good. But you're all like trying to go in different directions with different goals and different plans. And then you're wondering why it constantly feels discombobulated, like a tug of war. because we haven't become one body with one forward momentum, one North Star, one direction we're going in, where we're there to amplify and multiply each other, to refine each other. Marriage is a place of refinement. My gosh, does it ever test you? It tests your heart. It tests your devotion. It tests your commitment. It tests your language. It tests everything about you. It's a constant growing, evolving journey of becoming more and more of who God created us to be, of learning to love more effectively, more fully, to extend even more grace in the process of imperfection, right? To be in seasons of hardship, to stay committed and devoted to the things. Like, it's such a beautiful breeding ground for holiness, for blessing, for depth, for intimacy, for goodness. Hey, it's Christine. I'm interrupting our program for a minute to ask you a question. Could you use a breakthrough right now? What is the one area of your life that you know that if you had a breakthrough in this one area, if you broke through this wall of resistance, this challenge that you're facing, this mountain, that it would change the game for you in every other area of your life? Listen, if I'm talking to you right now, I want to let you know about a 30-day breakthrough coaching experience that I'm offering up for a limited time. It's where I'm going to work with 3 people very intimately, one-on-one. There's going to be daily touch points, daily action steps, and the opportunity to talk to me directly a couple times a week. And we're going to get to work on that one area of your life that is the domino that's going to knock down every other thing, that is just going to open the door. So here's who it's for. It's for those of you who are ready to roll up your sleeves, get to work. You want to execute at a high level. You want that person in your corner for support to call you out on the blind spots. It's also for those of you who don't want to deal with surface level fixes anymore. You want to get to the root of the problem. We're going to pluck the root out and we are going to clear the path. It might be mental operating systems. It might be spiritual stuff going on. It might be as simple as getting into full decision and getting clear action steps. So if I'm talking to you right now and you are ready for a breakthrough, click on the link below. There's going to be a short application for you to fill out. Once our team receives that, if we think it's a fit, we're going to send you the offer with all the details, the pricing, the investment, and the clear next step. You guys, if the program is full, we'll drop you into the wait list. Again, if it's a fit, we'll let you know when a spot opens up. So if you are ready for a breakthrough in this season of life, click on the link, fill out the application. I'll see you on the other side. So many people reach out and they're just going, what's going on? Why are we not on the same page? Why are we fighting all the time? I would suggest let's go back and understand the purpose for why we're even together in the first place. It's so that we can be examples of love for each other. It's so that we can be bearers, bringers of life to the relationship, not vampires that suck the life out of it, right? It's so that we can be each other's number one supporters and edify each other and pull the things out of us, the greatness out of each other, which will actually not be a competing force with you, but will add to your marriage, will add to your relationship. So the human limitation on purpose is that we have our own ideas about what this is for. This is what marriage is for. Well, what's money for? How about what's the purpose of wealth? That's a whole other podcast, right? Some of us are so consumed with gaining wealth, building inheritance, building investment portfolios, building businesses. What is the purpose of your business at the end of the day? Yes, it's so that you can be profitable. And yes, it's so that you can provide your family a good living and leave your kids, hopefully, an inheritance. But what is the kingdom purpose? What is God's purpose for why he is entrusting you with this position? How often do we stop and ask these questions? The reality is most of the way that we define purpose in the human standards is like, the purpose of this is to keep me safe, right? Safety first. That's the purpose. Safety first. The purpose is self-preservation, to make sure that we're going to be okay, that we're going to be promoted, that we're going to be advancing in the marketplace. A lot of purpose that we attach to things is for selfish promotion, more control, so that I can feel safer, more power, more more power, more of a feeling of power so that I could feel more significant, or I could feel more worthy, or I can prove to myself or prove to others that I have what it takes, because we got all this unresolved drama and trauma from our past. And I'm not negating that. I mean, I have a lot of it that I've had to heal and overcome and have gone through seasons of lots of healing, because I realized, man, there was so many things that I was pursuing and pushing and forcing unconsciously because I had something to prove to myself. I had something to prove to other people, that I was strong and I wasn't going to settle and I wasn't going to back down and I wasn't weak. But the effort behind it, the drive behind it, the purpose was mixed up, y'all. The purpose for the drive was mixed up. So as we look at the human limitations on purpose, sometimes the purposes were like, hey, this is to keep me safe. I got to keep the kids safe. I got to keep our family safe. It's for control. It's power. It's for significance, right? We need to feel worthy. We need to feel like we have something to contribute to the world. It's hilarious because that's already true about us. If we study what the word of God says, if we get in relationship with him, we already know that we are worthy because he put us here, because he put oxygen in your lungs today, because you're alive. That means you have purpose today. You have something to contribute today. There's nothing to prove. There's no question about it, but we question it. We walk right by it and we feel like we don't have purpose because we're not doing something. We're not standing on a stage. We're not doing this crazy important thing, or we're not doing enough. And that is the original lie that was in the garden when Adam and Eve walked by all the abundance and they were walking with God. They already had the mind of God. They already had access to everything in the kingdom, in the garden. Like they were operating and living in the place of total abundance. And the serpent convinced them that they were missing things. They were missing out on the knowledge of God, that they could be just like God if they ate the fruit. He convinced them that they were missing the things that they were literally surrounded by all the time. And that is the bait of Satan, my friends. Okay. So other things, when we look at human purpose, it usually has to do with our timeline, right? This must be the reason why I have this money. This must be the reason why I have this relationship. The purpose of this friendship is this. The purpose of this relationship or this connection is to get me into the right rooms or to get me into the right places. And we get twisted and we get distorted. But God's purposes are very different. God's purposes are for formation of character, refinement of character. God's purposes are for fruitfulness, not just of earthly fruit or earthly success metrics, but kingdom, fruitfulness of peace, of goodness, of kindness, of discipline, of faithfulness, of wisdom, of understanding, of love, of grace. Like he wants to see increase in faithfulness, increase in obedience, increase in generosity, increase of heart, increase of freedom for people, not more slavery, not more anxiety. He wants to see multiplication of the talents and the abilities and the good things that he put inside of us. He wants to see multiplication on the assignments he set aside for us, not our own little things that we're off chasing, trying to force. God's purpose is, I said this last week, it's intergenerational, it's multi-generational. He's usually not working with just this generation or this family. Like he's looking to heal family lines forward and backwards. He looks to rewrite stories generationally. As you decide to do the healing and you embark on healing your family's generational trauma, your wounding, you start dedicating your life, your business, your marriage, your heart, your mind, your body back to the Lord. The healing doesn't just go forward. The stories and the timeline start to get rewritten in your history. Again, other podcasts for a different day. But the timeline of the heavens is not like linear like this. It transcends time and space. So as we decide to stand up and say, I'm going to be the one to break the cycles, to break the spirit of poverty, the spirit of man. I'm going to be the one that breaks the spirit of addiction. The purpose right now of this assignment is to be a chain breaker, to be the one who sets the captives free in my family. I know that's a purpose and an assignment the Lord has for my life, right? It's intergenerational. It's for the future, and it's to rewrite the past. It's to reclaim the things that the enemy has stolen from my family, from my children and my children's children, and put them back in so that we may fulfill the work that he has for us, the assignments that he has for us. And that means that all of the impact, whether it's the people that will be touched, the books that will be written, the acts of kindness, the testimonies that will be spoken are reestablished, because that's what the enemy wants to do. He wants to take those seeds so that those people in the future will not have testimonies. They will not be able to fulfill the plans and the purposes God has for them. So remember that God's reality is my purpose is deeper than you can imagine. It's broader. It's wider. It has to do with formation of character, fruitfulness, first and foremost in your spirit, in your heart, in your body, in your internal state, before he's concerned with fruitfulness on the outside. Fruitfulness on the outside is a byproduct of fruitfulness on the inside. Man's purposes often look at something. We look at our marriage. We look at our finances. We look at a business deal. We look at an opportunity and we say, what's it going to cost me? Or what is this going to get me? It's about me. Like, is this going to get me something or is this going to cost me something? God looks at something and who will this save? Who will this help? Who will this set free? Who will this heal? Who will this lead back to me? Who can I trust? He's using all things for good for those who love him and serve him. Remember that we say this all the time. God's ways are way higher than our ways, right? And this is why his purposes are way higher than our purposes. And I'm just going to talk about two men. We hear about them all the time in the Bible, but I'm going to bring them up again because it's such a good indicator. Abraham in Genesis 12-21, you guys can go and read this. We read the story of Abraham when God gives him the promise that his descendants will be greater than the stars in the sky. Now, Abraham is already advanced in years. He's old. He's past childbearing age by most means, or he's getting there. I believe he was 75 when he got that promise. I could be wrong, so don't quote me on that. But by the time he got the promise that you will bear a son and you will have many descendants, Abraham got impatient in the waiting, right? We all know this story. He got impatient in the waiting and he wanted to take matters into his own hands. And he said, you know what? I think, the purpose is I'm supposed to have heirs. I'm supposed to be the one that has so many descendants. It ain't happening fast enough. Let me take matters into my own hands. Man's purpose is to secure legacy through human means. But the Lord, and that's how Ishmael was birthed, right? We know the story. Abraham gets together with his wife's servant. His wife couldn't bear children at the time. She said, fine, sleep with my servant. Let's get this baby out. And it turns into a seed of resentment. It turns into a seed of bitterness. It was not the promise that God had made. It was not the purpose that God had. Later, God did provide Isaac through Sarah. But after Abraham had tried to take matters into his own hands to advance God's timing. See, God's purpose produces promise through dependency on him, his timing, his order, not dependency on our own timeline, our own impatience. And this is so subtle. We got to pay attention to it, right? The good intention that Abraham had caused delay, caused heartache, caused bitterness, caused resentment, caused frustration. But God's promise and God's purpose required trust. It required surrendering the timeline to him. There's going to be times when it's time to move. It's time to go. It's go time, and we'll know. But we have to really submit and keep asking, Lord, what is the purpose of this? What if I'm in the waiting season? What is the purpose of the waiting season? What are you doing in me right now? There's so many of us, and I've done this so many times, where I am been very good at birthing Ishmael projects. Good ideas, wrong timing. Good ideas, not God ideas. Good ideas, wrong people, right? Good ideas in my own strength, not God's strength. Feels exciting. It seems like an answer to a promise. Hey, wait, he gave me this vision. I see it. I can make it happen. I see this opportunity. I'm going to go with it. We have to remember this, that purpose isn't always created by opportunity, but is created by obedience. Another place we see this so clearly is in King David. We know that David was anointed to be king years before he actually had the appointed time, right? He was still serving Saul. So the opportunity he had there was actually to take Saul's throne early. Saul got jealous, tried to attack him, tried to kill him, was pursuing him. David had every opportunity there to actually kill Saul, take the throne. After all, he was anointed. Samuel had already anointed him to be king. It seems like the right thing to do, right? So in man's mind, the purpose is if I'm supposed to be king, here's my opportunity. I'm going to take it. Duh. But God's purpose is I'm going to refine his heart first. I'm going to teach him how to serve another man's kingdom. I'm going to teach him how to obey me first and to understand timing and order. He was working on David's heart and David's heart and David's heart throughout all those years. He was forging David into a warrior and a king and a lover and a poet and a man who would be after God's own heart. So I just want to say that for some of us, I feel like the last 5 years, the Lord has really just been working and working on my heart, refining my heart, teaching me the purposes of the things that he has given me, that he has entrusted me with, that he has called me into. Everything from my marriage to parenting, like even being a parent, you go through seasons where you're struggling with your kids and I've gone there and I've had some really hard seasons with my children where I was like, I thought the purpose was to keep them safe. The purpose is to make sure that they follow the rules and they turn out to be great adults and that they go to school and they do all these things. And none of that was a purpose. None of that. All of that was causing me angst and anxiety and stress and sleepless nights because I was trying to force and push my children. I was trying to push this agenda on them and force this performance on them and force their healing and make sure that they weren't going astray. And when they were going sideways and they were like walking away from the Lord. And I was like, fear started to take over for a season of my life, fear and control. And I went back to the human purposes of, I got to make things right in my own strength. I was praying for them, but I was praying like a beggar. I was not operating from a place of grace, from a place of authority, from a place of speaking promises over their life and loving them through their wrestling, right? When they were wrestling with their faith, when they were wrestling with their identity, when they were wrestling with their future, which is part of all of our natural process. So as I wrap this part up here, as we think about the saboteur, the limiter of our kingdom vision and our kingdom assignment, it's we miss the purpose of it. We miss the purpose of a season. We think that things are not happening. It's going too slow. No deals are coming in. We miss the purpose of the season, that God's pruning, that he's refining. He's building new infrastructure. He's creating deeper roots. We miss the purpose of a relationship because we think it's about us, about making sure that we feel good, that we feel loved, that they're showing up for us. And we miss the purpose that relationship is actually a place of refinement. It's a place of testing. It's a place of love. It's a place of faithfulness. It's where we learn to serve others instead of be served all the time. We miss the purpose of leadership. We miss the purpose of running businesses because we think it's all about profitability and growth and making sure that we are the leaders in the marketplace and no competitor outperforms us. And we want to be first to market and we want to be first to this and we want to be top 1%. And we think that the purpose is more. When I've been in that place, man, it's been the place of burnout, of resentment, of frustration, where I was like, man, I do not even enjoy this work. I was missing the purpose. So as we think about coming back into alignment with what God has, the assignment, the vision, the plans, the design that he has, we have to ask ourselves and ask him, what is the purpose of this? Right now, I'm going through something that I find myself very frustrated with very often. I'm catching myself sooner. And I'm saying, Lord, what are you doing here? What is the purpose of this? What is the purpose? What are you doing that I'm missing? What are you doing that I get to attune myself to? Tune in like a tuning fork. What is it that you're asking? What is the purpose of what you're putting in my hands? The other thing I want to share here, and I'm just going to wrap with this one, is the limiter on our mindset. One of the things that really blocks, sabotages, kills our ability to fulfill the vision, the plans, the assignment that God has for us, either in this season, in your marriage, is the limitation of our mindset. The thoughts that we entertain every day, the program that we allow to run. Human limitation, the human mind is like, this is just how it is. This is just how I am. This is how people are. Everybody does this. I've been here before. I know how this turns out. I've been betrayed before. I've been hurt before. I've been let down before. I've been burned before. I know exactly how this is going to go down, right? And what that is, old programming, old memories coming up. That's old experiences. And experiences can be great teachers, but they're terrible masters. I'm going to say that. Our past can be a great teacher, but it's a terrible master. When your past defines you, when your past rules you, when your past determines what's possible, what's not possible, now it's become a master. When your past becomes the source of your joy or your pain because you're building by trying to run from it, it's a dangerous place to hang out. So we have to challenge our belief systems as we start to get a vision that drops in. We start to have dreams that drop in. It's challenging because your mind will run to immediately. That is not very realistic. That's just not how things work, right? That's not how it's going to play out. Like, I don't see that happening, but that's all rooted in, again, past outcomes, learned operating systems, like trauma-informed logic, business conditioning, life conditioning, old relational conditioning, fear dressed up as wisdom. But what God invites us to is alignment of our thoughts to his thoughts, our words to his words. So often what kills our ability to fulfill the promise is that we don't get our head right. We don't get our mouth right. And we just let our thoughts go wild. They're going to come. The thoughts are going to come. The memories, a lot of them are still in your nervous system. There's triggers all around us in the atmosphere. The triggers are going to come. Healing is our responsibility. Rewiring the stories is our responsibility. How do we do that? The word of God says, by the renewing of our minds, be not conformed to this world, right? Don't be conformed to this world. Don't think like this world. Don't think like earth. Don't think like everybody else thinks. Renew your mind to think like heaven thinks. How does heaven think? Let's see what the word of God says. I start reading, I start repeating, I start articulating what God says, which is a reflection of his thoughts. His thoughts were spoken, right? In the beginning was the word, and the word was with God, and the word was God. In the beginning was the word that spoke what was in God's heart, what was in God's mind. In the beginning was the word, and the word was with God. They were one, and the word was God. When we speak, this is where he's really convicted me. As I speak, am I speaking as he would speak over my life, over my children, over the resources that he's entrusted me with? Even that, let me go back. Over these children that I've been blessed to steward, to parent, over this business that I've been blessed to lead, over these clients I'm blessed to work with. Am I speaking over the things, the people that he has brought into my atmosphere the way he would speak about it? Or am I just allowing whatever word vomit of frustration or whatever I'm feeling in the moment to come out of my mouth? Y'all, I'm just going to say this right here. I'm so not perfect on this. This is one of the things that I'm committed to cleaning up big time in 2026. I speak a lot about conscious language, the power of words to shape our reality. And yet again, I'm shown where there is a mismatch, a misalignment between the vision and the assignment and what's coming out of my mouth. What's coming out of my mouth is a reflection of the thoughts that I'm allowing to be entertained in my mind. And so as thoughts come, we're the only species that can observe a thought, that can actually meditate on it, that can change it, agree with it, or disagree with it. We can rebuke it. We can say, you know what? I do not receive that. That is not my thought. I will not pay attention to it. I'm going to dismiss it, reject it, renounce it, rebuke it. And instead, I'm going to choose this belief. Beliefs are formed. Beliefs are cultivated over time, over repetition. That's how beliefs happen. We pay attention to something. We give it attention. We give it focus. We give it energy, and it keeps running through those neural pathways, and it starts to get reinforced. The more we think about something, the more we align our emotions to it, because thoughts create emotions. The more we speak and agree with the thought, whether it's a good thought or what we perceive as a bad thought, let's say life-giving and destructive thought, whether it's a thought that comes from God, from the life giver, or from the absence of God, we're usually always agreeing with something. If you want to know what you agree with, pay attention to what comes out of your mouth, because those are agreements, right? They're contracts. We're making verbal contracts. And so as we think about the limitations right now on the vision, I want to challenge you. I'm going back to the marriage thing where I started. A lot of people reach out because they want to have a better marriage. They want to be more unified, whether it's finances, whether it's parenting, whether it's just about life and goals. But how much time do you spend thinking about how much your spouse is irritating you, doesn't agree with you, is judging you, is disrespecting you, is doing something wrong, can't be trusted? How much time up in your head are you entertaining thoughts that are anti-vision, right? And then as you allow those thoughts to play over and over again, the movie starts to feel really real. It creates a visceral reaction in your body. It starts to encode your nervous system. And as you speak it and you start to become it, starts to manifest all around you, the very thing that you're fixating on. Some of us need to go back and say, Lord, what is the purpose of marriage? What is the purpose of being a husband? What's the purpose of being a wife? Train my thoughts like a husband would think in your kingdom, how you think as a husband of your bride. Let me think the thoughts that you have for us, the thoughts that you have as a lover, as a protector, as a fighter, as a servant king. Let me speak the words that you would speak over us. Now that's a reframe. That's a reframe. This applies to your children. This applies to your finances. This applies to your body. If you're dealing with sickness, you're dealing with health issues, things will present. People will have temper tantrums. They will fall short. They will disappoint you. There will be moments where circumstances on the surface do not align, don't look like the vision. Those are testing moments. I believe that those are testing moments. We can see it for what it is and say, even though this is presenting, this is what I will choose to speak over it. This is what I will choose to meditate on it. And I align myself to the mindset, the mind of God, the heart of God, the beliefs of God. And I start to cultivate that every day. It's like a garden. Your heart is like a garden. Your mind is like a garden. The soil, it needs to be cultivated every day. It needs to be turned over, right? It needs to be nourished. It needs to be watered. It needs to be tended to. Otherwise it gets hard. It gets hard. The soil gets hard. It gets choked from weeds. So I'm going to stop there. The 5 silent killers of kingdom vision and assignment. There are so many more, but those are the ones that the Lord brought to my attention that I'm really just also challenging myself to look closer at. And as I move into this new year and this new season, just do a little check in with myself. I'm all about creating greater alignment so I can experience more momentum, greater partnership in my life, in my business, in my family. I hope that this brought you some insight. I hope that it spoke into you. As always, if it did, I invite you to just share, comment. If you're watching this on YouTube, share this podcast, this episode with someone. And again, for those of you who are ready to go deep and actually work with a mentor, with a coach, mentorship is important. You need people around you that can help you see what you can't see, that will give you a framework and guidance to follow, that will hold you accountable, that will call you up. That's why we do coaching and mentorship. So if you're in a season of your life where you're ready to take your marriage to the next level, your business operations to the next level, where you're actually ready to turn the inverted upside down system of the world and align every area of your life to the kingdom system for life, for prosperity, for multiplication, then I invite you to book a call, see if coaching is the right fit. We work with leaders and their organizations to really transform cultures inside organizations, inside of families, inside of homes, so that we can be catalysts of change in our communities and our industries. I want to thank you guys for listening in today. This message is so fresh. It's so special to me right now. It's very close to my heart. Again, I hope this blessed you. We'll see you next week. Bye for now.